Get started. Wanted to know what drew you to this music genre of neo soul.
Yeah, so I would say that the foundation of kind of the music genre that I find myself in now was definitely laid as a child. So growing up, listened to a lot of Erykah Badu, Jill Scott, Lauryn Hill, and I always just loved the way, that they were able to say something with what they were creating musically, but like it also felt good. Like you could still dance to it. And so yeah, I really enjoyed the neo soul genre and like kind of seeing how it's grown over time. The like neo soul. To include, I guess, a little bit more in terms of musical influences and styles. So yeah, definitely firm foundation as a child. Okay.
What gets Kristen Merritt in the creative process?
Yes. Okay. So I kind of separate my creative process into two categories. So the more intentional songwriting and then the songwriting that comes from just raw emotional experiences. Good or bad. And so the intentional songwriting, actually in both fields, I guess you could say, it's me sitting down and recording on my phone. But when it comes to the intentional genre, or intentional writing, that's when I have a chord progression in my head. I have kind of a story in mind that I want to talk about and kind of sit down and focus in that way. Whereas the raw emotion is always kind of in response to, again, some big event happening, and I just need to write something to express how I feel about it. So I think that both of those styles definitely have their own merits. Merritt, yeah, my last name is Merritt. But when it comes to, if I had to choose one that I liked more than the other, I would say that I like, kind of the catharsis of the process of the more raw emotion, because it does allow me to be vulnerable and express myself in a really crucial way. But I also just like that I can still separate that, so I don't have to have a bunch of bad situations happening in order to write music. So got those two to distinct.
What's the average day like for you?
The average day,
a musician.
Yes. Okay. Well, I don't know if my average day is like everyone's average day, musician wise, but specifically for me, what ends up happening is that I will wake up at about 6, try to get my exercise in before I get to work, because I get to work at 8. And then, I'll have breakfast. I like to keep it quick, so I'll usually do some eggs or Soylent, if you guys know what that is. And then if not, that's okay. From doing breakfast, will get to work, and I'll do my work. It's a lot of interacting with people, but in the downtime, I'm able to do some work on Korean, because I'm studying Korean. I really like that language. And then, I have lunch, finish work, and then when I get home, I usually cook dinner, and then I'll practice guitar. But the way that I have found practicing guitar to be the most beneficial, outside of practicing like a specific piece or practicing a specific song that I've written, is to go through the kind of more compulsory things like scales while watching something. So I'll watch a YouTube video or put something on Netflix and just kind of noodle through things while I'm watching something else, so that I don't get bored, because I love guitar, but sometimes it can get a little bit boring just to kind of do the scales and activities. And then after that, I will maybe sometimes hang out with friends, go to open mic night, but otherwise I tuck in for bed around 10:30, and I'm a grandma, but it's great.
Several EPs out right now. Mm-hmm. Would you care to share the songs you like most? Let's say the top 3.
Okay. Yeah. So of the EPs that I have out, the older EPs were done with my band, the Masaharu Effect, and then the newest one was done by me, and then having artists, very awesome artists, come on and help me with their parts, their instruments, and production-wise. And so from the first EP, it was literally one song, and that song was called Island, and it's basically kind of like a ska pop song, and it's just so much fun. Like, in terms of the recording process with it, you know, it was so labor intensive, and it got to the point where we were like, I don't even think we're gonna be able to get this done, because that was the first time that we tried to, you know, independently record drums and guitar and keyboard and bass and then voice, and it was just like so much, but it came together to be just like a really exciting project, and it's just fun. It's fun to listen to. So that's my favorite old EP material. And then kind of like middle, you know, temporally, I would say Not Yet, which was a song from a two-song EP that the band and I released some time ago, over a year ago. And this song is just actually vocals and bass, with some bass layering. But the thing that I really like about this song is that it was the first time that I had written a song that didn't have a structure. It wasn't like A, B, you know, verse, chorus. It was more like a poem. And I liked that, you know, it didn't necessarily feel like a challenge, because it, you know, songwriting for me, thankfully, has come naturally, but it was a departure from the way that I had written songs before. So that was a good way to kind of expand myself. And then last but not least, from my most current EP, Spectrum, you know, check it out. I really enjoyed the song Float. And this song was really special to me because I kind of liked the imagery that I was intending to invoke with it, in the sense that, like, the song is talking about falling in love, right? And, you know, hoping that person that you're falling in love with is going to catch you at the end of the fall. But I kind of imagine myself kind of floating slow motion through space and time, experiencing things as one does when they're falling in love. And so I like the way that song feels. I like the message it carries, of this idea of, you know, you better be ready because I'm heavier than I look. And, like, that can mean a lot of things, you know? So, yeah.
Hidden meaning in any of your music, and then specifically towards the weird weather.
Okay. Yeah, so hidden meaning wise, I would say that lyrically I use a lot of metaphor, and I like to be flowery and dreamy and all that kind of good stuff. But I wouldn't say it's necessarily hidden meaning so much as just trying to have layers to the meaning, so that, you know, the emotions, in terms of the emotions that I'm trying to express, have depth, and they have layers, and they have, you know, complexity, as everyone's emotions do. So I think it's important for me to try to get that across lyrically, and sometimes it can be like, what is she talking about? Like, why is she talking about, like, this, that, or the other, just bringing in weird words, like, but everything has a purpose, I would say, in my music.
Do you like to collaborate with others, and what is that process like, actually?
Yeah. So I love collaborating with others. Oh my gosh, yeah. It's one of my favorite parts of being a musician, is just being able to, you know, writing the music myself is really fun, and it's just like a fun process. But I think for all of the melodies that I'll ever have in my head, you know, that I want to get out, pen to paper, or actually phone recording, because I record on my iPhone, it's just elevated by what other people bring to the song. Just like melodies I would have never heard, you know, just thinking about, you know, me playing guitar and doing voice, and you know, especially bringing in different genres and influences, because everyone musically is going to be coming from different places, and so the way that they express themselves through their music is going to be different. And so, like, bringing that together and, like, seeing that merge, it kind of reminds me of that one scene in Ratatouille where Remy is trying to get his brother, who I'm forgetting the name of right now, to, like, experience what a strawberry, you know, really experience what it tastes like, and then a piece of cheese, and then he brings them together, and it's like this, like, beautiful symphonic blend. It feels like that when I'm collaborating with other musicians. So yeah, it's in my opinion the best way to do it. It's good to be a strong independent musician, but if you can play with other people, that's a good way to do it too.
What is your favorite part about this line of work that you do, and your least favorite, and why?
Okay, so my favorite part of music and performing is definitely the audience interaction and engaging with people. You know, whether it is a big venue or a small venue, whether it is like a crowd of, 50 people versus just like one special person that you connect with. I just think it's so wonderful to have that connection and for the music that I create for it to mean something to the listener. And so, yeah, I love being able to interact with the audience, especially when people like jump in if if I'm covering a song, when people will also like get in and start singing and everything and dancing. Like that's just like a great feeling to be connecting with people in that way. One particular instance, quick story. So when I was in the band, the Masaharu Effect, we did a quick trip to Asheville, North Carolina. We called a little mini tour, and we played in a bar. And one of the songs that we ended up playing was an original song called Do You Know, which was like a ballad, a love song, as many of them are. And so we were playing this song and we noticed that this couple, they like connected, like they like locked eyes with each other and they got up and started dancing with each other. They ended up like kissing and being so sweet and romantic. And then after the song, they let us know that it was their wedding anniversary, and that the song just really just like made them feel something that they wanted to express with each other. And I just thought that was something really special to be able to bring that to other people, to give something emotional and like pure and raw in that way to others. So yeah, favorite part definitely hands down is the crowd and the people. Oh, of course. I'm sorry. I was just like riding the high of like, oh, I like people. My least favorite part, I would say, is maybe the splitting, I guess, of the band that I was a part of, in the sense that it was so cool to have new members come in again because they're bringing their style and like their musical influence and taste and everything. But it's always just hard saying goodbye. So it's good practice to keep myself open to the new experiences and people and like bands and collaborative efforts that I hope to have in the future. But again, it's just always hard to be like, oh, like you were so incredible, like I'll see you later. We're still friends, but like we just don't play together.
What do you like doing about shows at local coffee shops and lounges?
Yeah, so I would kind of consider these shows, to have a little bit more of an intimate feel. And so I like that. I like that size. And of course, I'm trying to one day get to the point where I'm playing stadiums and everything. But I definitely really like the smaller settings because it allows people to feel more comfortable, I think, as well, coming up to you and engaging with you. If you're able to touch people with your music, despite the venue size, like that's an incredible, beautiful thing. But then to actually be able to talk with people, to have them let you know what they liked, what they didn't like necessarily, maybe even sometimes what worked, what didn't, what they really enjoyed, and just kind of getting that feedback and connecting with people in that way, I think is the benefit of playing smaller shows. And then you also, if it's like an open mic or something, you get to hear other people play and then you get to like tell them how great they are. And it's just nice being in like a space where people are there to cheer people on, listen to good music, just like interact and just like, kind of form friendships. And so I really like the smaller venues for that reason.
Dealt with performance anxiety.
Oh, yes, I have. So especially when I was first starting out, it was a constant battle with my stomach to like be calm. That was the way that like anxiety for me and like nerves manifested. But I think the thing that's important to remember is if you're nervous about something, it's because it matters to you. And so, I never took the nerves as an indication of like I can't do it, even though I definitely before a show would be like, guys, I can't do this, like find me a bathroom. And again, I got better over time, but I think that like I said, with anything that you're passionate about and that you want to perform well at, you know, the nerves are definitely bound to come. And even to this day, you know, I still get nervous getting on stage, but I found the thing that helped, you know, in the past, and that's, you know, kind of been a thing that's helped over time, is really settling into the music and allowing myself to be like, okay, I'm here, I'm present, you know, I can do this. And so, yeah, usually by like the middle of the first song, I'll be like settled and a little bit calmer. It also helps that when I sing, and often sometimes even when I talk, I will close my eyes. And yeah, that allows me to not as much be, I guess, not to have as much of an issue, you know, if like people are just like on their phones or like, you know, not paying as much attention, to not be jarred by that. Because there's always someone who's listening, you know, there's always someone who's listening, hopefully enjoying and everything. And just having that in the back of your mind also helps. Favorite performance? So I would say that, okay, my favorite performance actually, less for the performance itself, and I'll explain that in a second, but more for kind of the after effect. And then also maybe for the performance itself, let's be honest, was when my band, when we were a 3-piece set at the time, we opened for the group Daughtry for a celebration in Newport News, military celebration. And I mean, it was just cool to be opening for Daughtry and to be playing alongside this awesome cover band as well. But I think the thing that I liked about it so much was it was the first time that I was playing guitar for real, and I chose that to be the biggest show that we had at the time. And so like hindsight, whoa, but like I got up there with my guitar, her name's Charlie, and I was so nervous. We ended up like playing 3 or 4 songs. I was so nervous, I couldn't hear myself on the monitor, so I didn't even know if I was playing the right notes. But we did that, and like singing, you know, felt good. And after the fact, there were these kids that came up and they were like, oh my gosh, you were so cool with your guitar. And like specifically this one little girl who was just like, oh my God, like, and she was like, you know, really excited. And I think it's the biggest compliment, especially when kids tell you that you're good, because like they can be rude if given the right circumstances. So like to hear that and to like, you know, see that she was excited about the guitar and she was excited about the band and just like everything coming together was just like so special.
That's great.